All right, let's jump into it. A little bit later this morning. So just testing the mics are working there. 10 to 12 on the 15th of Jan. So already halfway through January. Jesus, flying along on that. And look, we'll sort of start off with DXY because we had obviously PPI overnight, and numbers came in weak. Let's call it up quickly. Actually, I need to update this one. And where are we here? Overnight. So yeah, so we got PPI coming here month over month. This is Forex Factory. For some reason they decided not to do the year on year, but I think the year on year may have come in a little bit sort of weaker as well. But at least with the month on month here, we can see that the core and also just the sort of headline number both came in lower than expected. And of course, with this, the idea being that the trickle down effect. This is basically PPI is more upstream of the CPI, and if they're seeing a reduction in inflation there, then in theory it should run downstream to the consumer with the more important number of the two, the CPI, and that'll sort of obviously then give the Fed more of a reason to potentially sort of like, consider that, well, inflation isn't an issue, so they don't need to keep the rates as high for as long, and thus, it puts it a tick more in the sort of, easing cut kind of camp. So I covered it the last couple of days, and that I think pretty much the general consensus across the market is that they've dropped down to, so they say, pricing um, two cuts through 2025. So, you know what I mean? I don't think it's going to have a massive, massive effect, but the thing is, it does have that, it is in that direction of it all. And look, I'll start on the daily, but actually, look, we can see the reaction. Where was it? The immediate reaction of it was this little candle coming down here, where it sort of dumped down, hit supports, and then shot straight back up again, and then eventually sort of gave way to it all. This is obviously, well, we're on lower time frames, this on an hourly, but you can see how these levels are still playing their part. Like, we got resistance, broke through, came support, broke through, now resistance again. So we know sort of on a smaller time frame, 109.40 is a level that the market's watching. So if we do see a push up today, well, by today I mean Asia session, then this is most likely an area where we would see a reaction to sort of come back down a little bit more. So we drag this through, not quite down to that level there yet, so we can wait to sort of see if this plays its part here. So upside in Asia, I mean, look, it's oversold. This is on the 1 hour. Upside in Asia, could see a little bit of a rally back up to this candle coming down here around that 109.40. We're at 109.25 now, and then start to see a little bit of a sell off and push down there. I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll probably sort of do a little bit of a stuffing around. I don't think it'll make it up here, and I think we're actually going to be targeting these levels down the bottom here. CPI, the bigger of the two numbers, PPI and CPI, and we're not going to see major breakouts prior to these things. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of look at, where's our supports down here, down here. Mate, you got smaller little supports through these areas here, but they're not really, you know what I mean? They're more just not even intraday. Well, I guess they're intraday supports, but this is where I'd be sort of targeting downside today. So if we move up, I reckon we'll get a sort of move down here to come back down over here. If not, which I am in the camp of the second side of this, is that we'll just see a move down to 109, 108.90, this kind of zone here. And then I imagine we'll probably get a little bit of a move back up from there. I don't see us necessarily breaking this level sort of prior to CPI tonight. And of course, same sort of thing. We've got to see how CPI sort of plays out. And sort of if we get, same sort of thing. If we get the higher number, well, CPI is the more important of the two, as I just said. So higher number will give more reason for like, well, inflation's ticking back up. We need to do something about it. What do they do about it? Well, okay, we will hold rates. They're not going to hike at this stage, but we'll hold rates. It gives more cause for holding rates or doing less cuts throughout the year, which obviously is dollar strength. So that's just a little bit of an overview of it all. I think sort of, look, if we take out the lows from overnight, we've got this little support that we just sort of popped in here. Not a massive fan of this one here, to tell you the truth, but I think if we take out yesterday's lows down here, that'll be the sort of the confirmation to sort of say that, look, we're targeting over here. So fairly quiet day as it is before these larger news events. So not expecting much, but I do think we'll probably see overall, so probably some dollar weakness before a little bit of a bounce around the zone over here. Let's fly through these things. We've got gold. Gold is a bit of a funny one because, obviously we're looking for this major sort of triangle sort of breakout. It attempted it, sort of like, retest, and obviously, bang, gave way yesterday. That's what we covered through with it all. But we are seeing that this zone, bang, played its part again. And this was a funny one sort of through PPI last night because this big ugly looking candle here is where it actually came out. So it popped up initially. And this is the thing, I'm back in my bandit status of just selling the pops. I had a bunch of positions, gold, silver, and Aussie, and that they popped up, closed, bang. That's it, fine, done for it all. Came back down, caught a little bit of the bounce. That's fine, out again, and walked away. So, the idea of sort of trying to buy these things and hold as it's running through. I mean, look, there was some people that would have bought it down here. What a great buy! Here's the breakout, boom, 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 and they're out. It's a very tough back and forth kind of style of trading at the moment. Like, I mean, look, it's always going to be pretty tough, but particularly at the moment, um, you know what I mean. You got to be. It does actually come down to a little bit of luck for the idea that you actually buy a dip and it doesn't just get undone. I mean, obviously, if you get these extreme lows, you got to be really counter trading these things here. You know what I mean? It's 36 down to 83. It's a $50 drop. You just got to blindly buy it. Stops to even or stops just marginally below there, and okay, yeah, you've survived through here. But most of the time through here, you're buying this thing. Okay, here's your breakout move. Bang, I bought it. Got the breakout stops. Bang, I'm out. So you know what I mean. It's very much a style of trading at the moment that rewards people that are sort of like getting in and out. And that's my style. And I'm happy to get back to that. I changed my style a little bit sort of like towards the end of last year. Don't ask me why. I had an absolutely insane couple of months in that and then decided to jump to the other side and think that I bought the bottom of some of these things and sort of, oh, I'm going to hold these ones. And, as I said to a mate, spoiler alert, haha, it wasn't the bottom. So that's the name of the game. You live, you learn, you just do enough to sort of fight another day and stay in the game. Anyway, enough of that. Point is here, now we've got gold. We had a little bit of a push up, obviously, afterwards. So it's a nice little recovery through here. Obviously, as this up-down sort of period through here, very much in line with DXY, as I showed a second ago. It didn't just commit to the downside, even though that data was US dollar weak. You got to think they've been buying and buying and buying US dollar for a bit. Well, last 3 months or so. So you know what I mean. There's people that are keen. They're like, oh look, I got a shot, boof, and they buy it back up straight away. And this is what sort of caused the pop up here in gold. But then people started buying US dollar again, so they shoots the gold down. Then eventually, as you saw, DXY eventually succumb to it. And, they may have brought it back up, only could they sell a little bit more and sort of eventually succumb to it and that. And that's what we've seen, the inverse of gold. It popped up, came back down, but eventually it succumbed to it. And the flows came out of US dollar and into gold. So, as it is on the open now, we're seeing a little bit of a gap up on DXY, as I showed a second ago. You're seeing a little bit of a cooling through gold here. We've got 12 o'clock ticking over in 1 minute. So I think between 12, I've got to sort of get back in line, sort of see where there's volume sort of popping in at the moment. But, 12, 12:15, 12:30, these are the times that I'm expecting to see a little bit of sort of Asia volume. You know what I mean? Obviously, Asia sessions are always a little bit quieter at the best of times anyway. But see if we can get some sort of movement through there. We haven't actually got too much news through the session today through Asia, as you can see. Absolutely nothing. That's it. We had sort of a little bit of sort of yen, yen data out before, but we got nothing. We got UK CPI 6 o'clock. May have an effect on a few things. Pound's been smashed, as I've covered. I think I stuffed it up. I think I was saying it's 14-year lows for the pound. It's not 14-year lows. It's 14-year lows for the gilt, I think, or highs. Uh, I don't trade that one, but that was a misspeak of myself yesterday. Anyway, here we go. So 12 o'clock, bang, we're opening it up. It's a little bit overbought. Let's chuck on the 4 hour, see how that's looking. I mean, look, that's a double bottom in this move coming through here. It's a breakout and it's a retest. If we get up and flip this here, so I said above 75, 74 yesterday. Attempted it a bunch of times. Obviously, knocked back down, broke through now. It's in a bit of a retest area. So if we sort of say that, look, these are where the sellers were holding it. I mean, it's not a beautiful chart, but it is kind of where we're looking at the moment. This is in retest territory. If this flips here, that's going to be the confirmation because, you need the three parts. And as I said, at the moment, it's very tough to get the timing right with these moves. But as a structural trade, double bottom, breakout, retest, higher high. That's your confirmation to move. I mean, it doesn't matter what's happening in the markets. That's how the structure will work. But this gives you a nice little, as I said, double bottom, breakout, retest, higher high, confirmation. I would say probably areas of interest 84 and 90. They're the two levels that I'd be sort of looking for. Sort of probably through this session. I don't think we're going to be sort of seeing super breakouts or anything, as I said, prior to CPI. CPI comes in cool. We see US dollar sell off. I think that'll be the catalyst to get gold moving. And even upside, look, we're going to have to deal with sort of 27.20, but that's still a $50 move from where we're at the moment. So there's definitely money to be made here. The RSI on the 4 hours very much there to support it if it does want to move. Because the thing is, you're not just sort of getting this little move here, break test, double bottom, yada yada, this kind of stuff. You got this big triangle, which obviously attempted to break out, knock back in. If it comes back out and breaks that again, that's again on a bigger sort of structure. The same thing we're seeing here: breakout, back test, which is the back test of these ones here, which is what we marked out yesterday. Back test, double, boom, whatever. Above 2700, which is what I said, 2700 to 2720. I think that's a pretty clear-cut trade. I don't see a lot standing in its way once it goes past 2700 to set 2720. It's very chopped straight through it here. It's chopped straight through it here. It's chopped straight through it here. I reckon that'll be a nice low risk $20 move if we can get above 2700. So that's certainly what I'll be watching. RSI on the 4 hour is there set ready to support it if it does want to move like that. So yeah, we just got to see what happens with CPI tonight. Silver is, which chart were we using? This is the chart. So obviously, look, I was looking double bottom here. I thought maybe it'd come up at the top here, but remember on the daily, it just didn't look like it really wanted to. It was like, I didn't like all these top wicks here, top wicks, and bang, we came back down, boom. Again, same similar thing. It's a bit of a deeper sort of retest of this. You want to get back above this zone though. This is a crucial zone. That 30. I mean, look, it's a big round number anyway, but it's a round number 20s to 30s as well. Maybe psychologically that has a little bit more of effect with people as well. But I think certainly if you can flip this daily, you can at least come back up 30, 40 for a test to sort of undo this big move down candle here. And you could potentially sort of get to through this little falling resistance here. I still think 31.20 will provide a little bit of a resistance area. I mean, technically you probably sort of could say yeah up to 32, but I still am looking for this double bottom measure move price target. So we'll sort of see how that one plays out. Again, I'm not expecting anything major. If you flip this today, some intraday trades up to maybe just above 30, maybe. But I think, yeah, we're not going to be seeing a great deal with the markets. But I mean, on a shorter time frame here as well, you can see the same sort of similar back and forth kind of garbage. I think it was this one. Where was it? It was just here. So it kind of acted a little bit better than gold did in this case, because obviously as you saw, the data came out and then gold came back all the way down bottom and then sort of came up. So silver held its own moving up and yeah, kind of grinded through, but again, nothing super at the moment. It's still like, two steps forward, one step back kind of thing. So yeah, look, I think above 30, just call it 30. It's a round number. It's like a point or two above the highs of overnight. Above 30, be looking for, I would say 30.30. Undo this big move down here because these big sort of drop down candles, generally that's a good target where we can sort of say, yep, that's a level that it'll undo it and it'll find the resistance there. So I would say above 30, looking for 30.30 through the day, which 30-point move on silver, that's decent. You know what I mean? So I mean that's 1%, I'm pretty sure, if my maths is correct at this point. Yeah, 1%, bang. So look, I think that's a plausible sort of trade. Yeah, you might have a little bit of issues because it's chopped all the way through this area over here, but I think that if we can get a bit of a pop, if we can get a little bit of a run up here, as I said, maybe sort of US dollar taking out those lows, that might give us a little bit of a flow intraday, but I don't imagine we're going much above that, even if we do get up to that point today. Flip across. Did we touch Aussie? Aussie sort of held its own. I mean, it's had this little sort of break from yesterday, or was it Monday? Tuesday? No, Tuesday. Yeah, so yesterday. So we had that little early Tuesday. We had the little breakthrough here, shook it off, and it's just look, it is holding this zone here. Very much a case for a lot of the people were looking down here, like it was looking kind of shoddy prior to um, PPI last night. You can see this is playing its part again, playing its part again. So the more times that we see it really react, and obviously the sooner the better. This, we're not looking back, 6 weeks or a month or whatever. More in the medium sort of short term. Um, the more times we see it sort of really sort of react at that one line, at that price level, we know that that's an important level. We know the sellers are sitting in this zone here. So when we see a depletion of these sellers here and we see price move up, then maybe retest and then move up like that, this is the leg that we're really looking for. Because this first leg here is showing depletion of sellers. This little back test is the people like myself, it's the profit on the pop. There's your pop, bang, that's a profit, comes back here. The people that were sort of shorting, each time they've shorted it, they've done well, they've done well, they've done well. Well, they got it wrong this time. They'll start to go, okay, let me close my shorts because I got it wrong this time. And that'll add to the fuel to the fire to the sort of push up here. And again, I think sort of 62.30 is an area that'll be very interesting because we actually zoom right out. That 62.30 is becoming very much a confluence. Obviously, this little more sort of short-term sort of support resistance coming across here. It's also coming very much in line with major channel resistance, as we can see here. Oh, you can't see it so much on this one. Let's go put it back on the 4-hour. You might see it better. You can see market is really, and this is the same sort of thing I was saying a second ago, the more times you can see the market react and sort of really confirm these lines, that is what they're watching. So if you can break that level, that's when you're going to be seeing your pop. So, I mean, first things first, above 62, because we can see that the sellers are obviously very keen at this level. So above 62, 62.30, see what happens 62.30. But again, there's a 20-30 point move potential through that zone here. As I said, look, I mean, you got to plan for both sides, and maybe we see, let's just pop a little zone in here. Maybe we see it retest these sellers, these buyers down here, which it does look like it wants to do a little bit at the moment. It's overbought. We're on the 4-hour. A couple of rejections around these zones here. DXY might have a little bit of a push early. Come back down here, test these zones. This is the kind of area you want to stay above. I would say if you're getting underneath 61.65, not looking too great. Because obviously it's come back here. It's made itself a little support. You want to see this movement, how it's going here, continue through. But that's certainly a lower risk kind of part of the trade I'd be looking for over there. China, look, it's holding its own in the sense of, it hits this zone here. That's like trigger cells. So, they're not super deep. And as we can see, certainly not the same as these kind of ones here. I mean, these were kind of big whack back, big whack back. They're getting shallower. Well, and they're starting to actually get lower, lower, lower in the more sort of immediate sort of term here. But I mean, at best, China grinds. So look, you could say that we've got actually probably looks like a little bit of a sort of trend, smaller trend inside the main trend. Because if we zoom out, that's our main trend here, which it hasn't revisited for a bit. But again, these things, I like to look for sort of areas where they could potentially turn to confluences. You take out the wicks down here, so say this level here, um, bang. I would say, yeah, you take out that wick from last night, or whenever it was. This is 4 hours, so maybe that's Monday, is it? Tuesday, early Tuesday. You take out that wick low. This is like the little form of the structure. Down, find support, find resistance. We're in this leg now. So at the moment, higher high, it holds this little trend, bang, onslaught on into the bigger higher resistance area. Break through this little trend. You got whoever might be trading this more short-term kind of trend. Okay, they're going to be on caution. You got the wick lows. You got a double bottom potential, but I would say that's your break, and that's your kind of move that you're looking for there. So sell down, support, resistance, test the lows, break the trend, back down, test main trend. Main trend, confluence with previous highs, support areas through there as well. Again, I don't think anything's going to break. And even for, as you can see, the amount that this kind of really moves, every now and then you get one of these couple of bigger candles, but more or less, this is how one moves. So it's not going to go poof, straight down, in my opinion. If it does break this trend here, and then obviously takes out those wick lows, it'll just keep doing what it's doing here. Grind, 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 grind down. But that's where I'll kind of be targeting 7.311, this kind of area through here. I think that's a bit of a plausible sort of thing if we do get onto a little bit of a move there. Finally, copper. Copper's trading relatively well. Dude on X and that sort of sent me a thing yesterday saying COT data was saying that, your lower kind of level traders and that are all bailing out of their longs, which is a bit odd, I suppose. I mean, look, if they're short-term trading and they've done this, or maybe they got it wrong through these periods and they just want to get out, it's fine, whatever. Drag this back here. It's a bit of an interesting sort of level. This was actually. See, this is the thing, because I wiped all my charts and that. It's like, oh, okay, matching these lines up again. This was that headache period just before the election. And so the election must have been around, yeah, here we go. So the election was down here. So we're back up into this range here. So no wonder we're kind of hitting, this is a, support, 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 all the way through here. Acting as the resistance, and bang, it's keep pushing against it, it's pushing against it, it's pushing against it. Of course, if we zoom out, this is also major daily falling resistance here. So you got a confluence, so it's no wonder that we're grinding to a little bit of a halt through here. But as you can see, two rejections, and it's still pushing up, 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 up against it. So again, I think you take out the highs, you're going to see a bit of a pop. We're going to be testing that little pushback up here, because remember, this was the headache period. And this goes to show, actually, this is a great example of how weak Aussie is in comparison to some of these other, well, obviously in this case, commodities. This is around election period here. So, we had the big sell-off on election day. We had the massive recovery day afterwards. Aussie outperformed there, 127% recovery in that. And it was like looking like, okay, bang, back up above 67. And then just bang, walloped. Aussie has gone down, well, it's gone down endlessly, but has gone down. See, election day, big bounce up from that point. It's gone down 8% from that. that's back up 1%. You know what I mean? Like Aussie has just been just not reacting to this stuff at all. Whereas if you're looking at sort of copper, well, you know, after post-election, copper went down 10%, back up 8%, 8.5%. So copper's very much sort of outperforming in that at the moment, well, you know, relative to sort of how Aussie has been sort of recovering. So obviously there's other factors involved with Aussie, and you know what I mean. It's the potential rate cuts coming up, and you know risk off appetites, and all this kind of stuff as well. But you know those things do also sort of factor in, well at least the risk does, into copper. So copper might just be the little canary that we need to get an idea of where direction might be going over the next couple of months. We'll have to sort of wait and see. But certainly at the moment, at a very crucial sort of level for it all, and a pop above this level um, not only gets the break of this major falling resistance, it also gets the break of this little more medium term previous support area, which is obviously acting as a resistance now. And I would say that's a pretty clear cut trade up to so it's about 2.5%, which isn't too bad from the break level if we do get that pop there. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. A little bit quicker. Try to sort of wrap these things up so I don't yarn on for sort of 45 minutes and that every single day of the week and that. The weekend ones I can unpack things a little bit more perhaps and that, and sort of see how things might potentially sort of play out. But yeah, trying to sort of chew through these things. And as I said, we haven't really got much news today, so we'll see what happens with CPI tonight. All right. Oh, actually, finally, just on that CPI, we are looking for potential ticks up. Core, even, headline, slight tick up, year on year, slight tick up. So, yeah, if we do see those hotter, this is what might hold US dollar a little bit more bid for now. All right, that's it from me.